And welcome back to Fourth and Pain, the only pro wrestling show to be hosted by an NFL player and a weight loss champion. He's Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker.
Howdy.
I'm the former pro wrestling announcer turned weight loss champion Chuck Carroll. And this, of course, Fourth and Pain. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Fourth and Pain. Like us on Facebook and set your calendars every weekday at noon. fourthandpain.com. Brand new material. And Adam, before we go any further, before we make our Survivor Series picks, before we talk about anything else, it's time to get your lovely bride on the phone. It's time to check the Peyton Pulse. Angie Carriker, are you with us?
I am.
How are you, first of all?
Really good.
Outstanding. You're a woman of many words, so let's dive right into this. The Peyton Pulse. What is it this week?
The big debate among media and right now is Peyton versus Adrian Peterson and which one should get MVP and which one should get Comeback Player of the Year. Kind of the way I see it, and I think a lot of media see it, is Peyton should probably get the Comeback Player of the Year because he's doing what Tebow did with the same team last year and was able to win some games. Now, granted, Peyton looks a lot better than Tebow and is having outstanding numbers, but Adrian Peterson's pretty much carrying the whole Vikings team by himself, and I really don't think he's actually getting that much credit or PR because everybody just keeps talking about all the quarterbacks and all the rookies and stuff like that. And you really don't hear anything about Adrian Peterson, but right now he would be in my books to get MVP.
You know, it's hard to argue with her assessment, but Angie, I need to go back and key in on one thing you said. You said that Peyton Manning looks better than Tim Tebow. Were you talking about the looks department, or are we talking about on-field performance?
We're just talking about on-field performance.
Okay, well, from a woman's perspective, who is the handsomer of the two? Because let's face it, that's what determines who goes to the Super Bowl.
Don't forget, I'm sitting right here.
Oh, it's called putting you on the spot and awkward radio. I live for this.
You're going to have to go with Tebow because Peyton has that smirk, and that would make me laugh every time I look at him. So
there you go.
Tim Tebow, huh? All right. Well, he's now my marked enemy. You know, I got to ask one quick question, and this just kind of came to me. Let's say Tebow lines up and throws a ball left-handed. Let's say Peyton lines up and throws a ball left-handed. Who throws it better?
Probably Tebow.
Because he's left-handed?
Yes.
I didn't think you knew that. That ruined that whole thing. I didn't think you knew that.
Oh, the bit has been spoiled.
It would have been awesome if she'd have said Peyton. I'd been like, well, he's left-handed. Never mind.
Angie,
you're too smart.
Angie Carriker with the football IQ. Again, a gem and a treasure. We appreciate your time.
That's most impressive. Hey, and you know what she put on her Facebook page? You know in her description what it says?
What's that?
I discovered this the other day.
Talk to me.
She thinks, yeah, she knows what I'm going to say. Apparently, she thinks she's the boss. It says CEO of the Carriker household.
Oh, no.
I mean, wow.
Oh, no.
Wow. And then she's talking about how handsome Tebow is. I mean, I'm just not feeling very good about myself right now.
I don't know.
I'm going to have to make fun of you now to feel better about myself.
Oh, thanks, Angie. I appreciate what you're doing. God. All right, Angie Carriker with the Peyton Pulse. We'll check in with you again next week.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks, sweetie.
All right, let's move on to greener pastures. Adam Carriker, let's talk a little bit about things that won't get you in trouble. Let's talk about the WWE Survivor Series coming up this evening on pay-per-view Sunday night. Contact your local cable provider. Let's do our customary bit where we always pick the matches. There are 5 known matches on the card. As always, WWE sneaks a couple more in right before the show, so maybe, we'll have some exclusive picks on Twitter at Fourth and Pain.
Do you know what they are? Do you know what the matches are right now?
I do. I absolutely do.
I know what 3 of them are.
I have all 5
I'm going to wing my picks? All right.
I have all 5 in front of me.
I will wing my picks then.
Let's start with the big ones. And I'm pretty sure you and I are actually already in agreement on this because we spent a lot of time this week during the lunchtime show, as I'm going to call it, speaking about the WWE Championship, the triple threat match, CM Punk, Ryback, John Cena. It's headlining the show more so than the even title match, the title match.
I like it.
The Team Foley versus Team Ziggler. But we'll get to that. Triple threat, WWE Championship. Who's your pick? Go.
I mean, if you haven't been paying attention to our Let's Show, you should because we went into depth on this. But I'm going to have to go with CM Punk pinning They got to keep Ryback. They got to keep him from losing, per se, getting pinned. So he's going to end up pinning John Cena, especially since Pina. You like that, Pina?
He's suddenly Latino.
Suddenly, I can't talk, especially since Cena just pinned Punk on Monday. So it'll make it okay that he gets pinned. And it's going to set up that year-long celebration I'm sure is going to happen on Raw, being champion for a year. And it's going to set up that Rock versus Punk matchup at what's that called?
The Royal Rumble?
The Royal Rumble. It's going to set up that glorious match, which will be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm not even going to bother piggybacking on that. I'm just going to say I agree with you 100%
You should always say
for
that.
the exact same reasons.
You should always
it's Punk's to lose. But
Okay.
maybe you and I differ on where things are going to go with the World Heavyweight Championship. Big Show, the current champion. Sheamus gets his rematch, though. How do you see this one playing out?
I think Big Show retains. I think Sheamus, he had the title for a long time. He had his run. I don't want to say he had his chance because it makes it sound like he blew. He didn't blow anything. I mean, he's a fan favorite. People love him. I enjoy watching him. I just think it's now somebody else's turn, and that individual is Big Show.
All right. And because I've said on the lunchtime show, again, check us out every weekday at noon. We're actually getting a lot of traction on that. Our
That's
numbers
because
on
we're
YouTube
so freaking good.
well, I don't know about that. I just think that YouTube is a marvelous outlet. Here's the thing. I think that Big Show is a short-term solution. Again, WWE tends not to keep the belt on overly large men for an extended period of time, and Big Show certainly falls in that category.
It's only 3 weeks. They're not going to let him have more
It doesn't
than 3
matter.
weeks.
His previous title reign, 45 seconds.
Well, that was an obvious bet.
That's all you need to know.
Obvious bit there.
I'm
There's no
saying
bit for 3
it's
weeks.
going back to Sheamus. Maybe they have a rubber match at the pay-per-view in between Royal Rumble and Survivor Series. I don't really know yet. But bottom line, I just don't see Big Show retaining this evening. Now then, here's one that has not really been talked about all that much. United States Championship. Antonio Cesaro, your current champion, going up against R-Truth. Now, we were just talking about R-Truth. What are they going to do with him now that Kofi's making a run of it as a singles wrestler? Here's your answer. He's getting a U.S. title shot. How do you see this one playing out?
This is one I'm kind of winging. I'm just thinking to myself in the head. I mean, I know the WWE people, they're loving them some Cesaro. They're talking about how strong his tendons are, which is very interesting. R-Truth, he's actually getting over pretty good with the fans. His whole little Jimmy bit, I'm kind of digging it. But I'm going to go with Cesaro. I think the WWE people just like him and they want to keep him going. He's a great anti-U.S. champion because he's obviously not American, talks trash to Americans, and then he's got the U.S. title. So I think it's a great bit. They're going to keep going.
Yeah, and kind of for different reasons, but I see Cesaro retaining as well. I don't think, especially just a month removed from Vince McMahon coming out and again kind of poking fun at R-Truth and his imaginary little Jimmy character, I don't see him being rewarded with the title belt right now. And he's one of the guys that you could have made an argument for WWE taking him off of TV and kind of revamping that character, giving him a fresh look. Because where can you go with R-Truth right now?
Well, people are responding to him. When he comes out to the ring, he's getting a decent reaction. And little Jimmy, actually, the bit by itself, just him doing it is not bad. It's actually fun to watch. But when you're dancing in the ring and when you get a whole group of people around an invincible child, that's bad. But just him doing the bit by himself, I don't hate it.
Okay, well, that's one of us. I'm a 30-year-old man. I want to see, a few more adult things on there, and certainly imaginary little children and children dancing do not fall in the adult thing category.
I agree with that. I'm just saying there's worse things on there that need to be changed. That I don't think little Jimmy's that bad.
In the scheme of things, perhaps not. But let's talk about the match that's really headlining everything. The WWE Divas Championship, one that I know Chad Dukes is going to be monitoring very closely. Your champion, Eve, going up against Caitlyn. Caitlyn got her title shot this week by winning a #1 contenders match against Layla. Adam, does Eve retain or does Caitlyn get the title?
Is this where I go get a beer? Or?
I think that this is where you flip a coin.
Okay, I flip a coin because I'm really not sure. I mean, I got to be honest with you. The Hosky. We'll go with the Hosky.
Eve?
Yes, that's a Hosky.
I'm going to dive a little bit more in depth here, but still try to be a little brief with this. I do see Eve retaining just because she's in the thick of the storylines right now. Caitlyn, not so much. She's just not much of... She's not ready for gold. I'll put it to you that way. That character's not ready for gold.
Little new.
Exactly. Whereas Eve, she's established. She's in the thick of the Friday Night SmackDown GM feud with Teddy Long. So we'll see what happens there. Bottom line, she retains. Now then, Team Foley versus Team Ziggler. Obviously, some changes made. The Miz turns out to be the fifth and final contestant on Team Foley. So now that team is comprised of Kane, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, and The Miz. They're going up against Team Ziggler now, which is Ziggler, Cody Rhodes, Damian Sandow, Wade Barrett, and Alberto Del Rio, calling everybody's favorite announcer, the Mexican Rodriguez. How do you see this one playing out?
At first, I was going to say Ziggler's team was going to win because I felt like Mr. Money in the Bank needed to get some sort of push. I'm sure he's going to cash in the Money in the Bank at some point in the future. Usually they typically win, so we need to get some sort of push. But then Monday Night on Raw, he loses to Orton. So that kind of defeats that whole thing because obviously they're not worried about giving him a push at the present moment. And even when they turned it to a tag team match, he did not get the pin. So I don't see them winning because they got any sort of, trying to give him any sort of a push. Actually, what I see happening is The Miz kind of maybe turning from heel a little bit. If you watched Raw, he wants to make an impact on the Survivor Series, and he teamed up with Kane. He actually won the fan poll.
Right.
Won the fan poll to become the fifth member. Teamed up with Kane, and him and Kane were on the same page. And fans love Kane. Him and Kane worked well. Daniel Bryan was not pleased, was not thrilled. Tried to interfere in the match, tried to cost him the match. Did not matter. Miz and Kane ended up getting the victory. Daniel Bryan tried to come in and claim the victory with Kane. Kane wanted nothing to do with them, and him and Miz are clearly on the same page. And the fans, you could tell they were digging it, and I was digging it as well. I was feeling the Miz a little bit of a turn to a baby face, if you will. So I think that instead of pushing Ziggler, I think they're going to push the Miz, and I think he's going to be the difference maker in that match, and that is why Team Foley will win.
Well, kind of, I guess for different reasons, I'm also going to side with Team Foley. I don't believe that Ziggler's just going to come away with the win. I mean, you got to go with the baby faces in there. That's what wrestling psychology, at least as I was taught, dictates. And remember, yes, I did go to pro wrestling training school, and I have a big scar on my back, courtesy of Mickey James, to prove it.
Had a girl.
But plus, I'm kind of curious about Dolph Ziggler. There hasn't been a lot of talk made about him cashing in Money in the Bank at this pay-per-view. So I wonder if there's an outside chance that he does. And if he does, I think that it's going to be in the World Heavyweight Championship match between Big Show
Well, they're not going to do it in the other match.
Right.
They're not going to mess up that thing they got going on.
Right. So I would say Big Show then. If he retains, as you say, I would say...
You're just determined not to let this man have the championship.
No.
Why do you hate tall people?
I don't hate tall people.
Be nice to us.
I enjoy
nice
the Big
to you.
Show. I think he's a fine fella. He does a lot of charity work. You're the jerk. You're big. You're tall. You're the
Why
jerk.
am I a jerk?
Because
I'm defending
you're
the Big
giving me
Show.
height. You're giving me a hard time about my height again.
You blatantly said the WWE does not like big people holding the title.
Right.
Blatantly said it.
I did.
That is sizeism.
Sizes.
That is, and I don't agree with your thing with Ziggler cashing in at this pay-per-view simply because he lost and he hasn't looked great and he gets slapped in the face by AJ by a girl and then all of a sudden this guy's going to become the champion. I don't like it. Not yet. Later on down the road, obviously he has to at some point. I just don't think this.
Stranger things have happened. Remember, we said Ryback wasn't ready for a championship match yet
and
either.
he wasn't.
And
thank you for ruining him.
So that's
for
WWE.
Me.
But we're going to come back on the flip side. We're going to talk a little bit more about football. Don't go anywhere. This here that you're listening to is Fourth and Pain.